Alrighty, we are here with the 20th episode of the PiP. As always, it is me, Jacob, and I am here with Colin.
How's it going?
And tonight we have a special guest, my best friend Noah.
Hello.
And yeah, so you guys are lucky. We have the iconic Damocles and Nazir duo here.
Oh yeah, boy.
Uh-oh.
The dynamic duo effect.
Anyway, do you have any question to lead off?
Yeah, I'll let you take the lead.
All right. So no, I'm gonna start this off with what are your hobbies? We'll get to D later.
So just general hobbies?
Yes, but don't get yeah.
I'm not gonna get super specific. I've been trying to do more like prop making, so like prop painting and whatnot. Really, mostly just that Desert Eagle for Rev. I love to read. Love to play video games. I try to be artsy and craftsy, just to have a creative outlet every now and then. And I love anything and everything to do with firearms, both history and shooting, maintenance, whatever. That sums it up. Pretty simple.
Now, getting into like your craft, like prop making, is there certain like outlet or media you use, I should say, for like how do you get your inspiration and then as a resource to doing your props?
Well, I used to follow a lot of prop makers on Instagram and check out like just some of their processes, especially for like weathering props, because I like a lot of the post-apocalyptic themes. There's a couple channels on YouTube. Adam Savage has his Tested channel that they do some cool prop making stuff on there. And there's one other guy, I cannot remember his name.
Punish Props, that one?
Yeah, Punish. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
He does a lot of neat tutorials that I really enjoy. And have actually used some of them.
Oh, awesome.
But not many.
Have you updated any of your Rev gear for next year, I should say?
Well, I've gotten all the actual clothes together, I guess. I finished the chaos themed, I guess, skin for the Desert Eagle. And once we learned that Rev was canceled, I kind of stopped working on it. Just because I was like, well, there's no rush.
Well, for everyone that watches this and doesn't know what Rev is basically Fallout, but airsoft version of it. And just post-apocalyptic, everyone gets like dressed up for it. And they even modify their guns, and they play at Ballahack Airsoft Field in Chesapeake. So, Chesapeake, Virginia.
Yep. Some people go really all out with their costumes.
Oh yeah.
Full like armor and
like there was one dude that was dressed up and he had like his gas mask on. Did you even see the gas mask when it was spitting smoke out of it?
I think I remember that.
He breathed like smoke. I guess he had like a small smoke machine in his like suit or something.
I thought he was just like vaping.
Maybe. But it looked too dense to be vape stuff because it was going through the filters.
Oh, well.
Maybe that's just a fat cloud, bro.
Just ripping fat clouds. But I do vaguely remember something about that.
There's a picture of it, and I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
Have you changed any plans when it comes to Rev? Like any ideas that you had that you're now just like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore?
Well, I had been building a face mask, and it was going to be. So, I wanted to do the whole kind of word bearer theme, what with the Book of Chaos and all that. And I wanted it to be like, because I am funneling chaos through my words, it was going to be like under the mask was the mutation that chaos had granted me. Because in 40K lore, usually it kind of works like that. Whatever you're doing for chaos, they choose to give you their quote unquote gift through that body part. So mine would be like, I don't know, imagine like Baraka's mouth from Mortal Kombat, something like that hidden under the mask as far as lore. But then I realized the mask didn't fit with the goggles that I bought, and I was like, oh, well, there goes that.
I thought you were about to say imagine Barack Obama, and I was confused.
Have you heard about chaos?
There's a couple of jokes I can make there that probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't. So, have you thought about taking apart two of your airsoft guns and just merging them together?
I have toyed with that idea, yes. The broken shotgun, the one that Matt knocked over and it just broke in half. I still want to do something with that one.
I'm still saying underslung.
I know. But I'm thinking make it like some kind of polearm weapon that has like a shotgun at the end of it. But then I run into the problem of being able to pump it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That one still skates across my mind every now and then.
You should make a double barrel M4.
I do not possess the mechanical skill to make that happen.
I mean, just think about it. You just take apart two of them and you just connect the shells of them and put them together to where you can press both triggers at the same time.
Well, that's true. I could make it like a twin link thing. It'd be really cool if I could rig up both motors to one trigger system and have it like a storm bolter, or like the real double-barreled M4s where it's one fire control group and two bolt carriers.
Yeah.
And then just have the magazines side by side. Or better yet, one sticking out to the left and one sticking out to the right. It's just like a big wing gun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, put two big drums on the side. Oh, that'd be cool.
Can you adjust your phone, Colin? You sound very muffled.
Hold on. Let's see what we got here.
Okay. Well, it
Hold on.
already sounds better.
Oh, thank you. Is it better?
Yes.
I'm going to sit my microphone in front of me.
Like,
am I too loud now?
Nope.
No.
Cool. Neato.
So, what would be your perfect like airsoft gun or even loadout? Like, so let's start with your gun. Like, what would you like to be your like dream airsoft gun to have?
Okay, so as far as ones that already exist, that's a toughie. My dream airsoft gun. Oof, that's hard. I really like guns in general. I would absolutely love to have a PTRS 41 anti-tank rifle as an airsoft gun, just for the sheer size, because that gun's like 6.5 feet long.
Oh yeah,
that would be awesome. I would love to have this is tough. You got some hard hitting questions here. Pretty much any kind of like big anti-material rifle would be awesome. And then as far as sidearms, the Jackal from Hellsing as an airsoft gun would be super cool.
I do believe they had it at one time.
Oh my god.
Another
Talk dirty to me.
There are conversion kits, so maybe you could like sweet talk Will into like making. Yeah.
He's been trying.
I've been trying to get him to make me just a solid non-working prop version, and he's like, bro, that's so much filament.
I've already told him.
You give me 2 rolls of filament, then I will. I don't know how much it's going to take because I want to make it full solid.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've already told Will that if he starts printing or setting himself up to print ABS, I will supply him ABS.
Oh, well, I mean, it's practically set up to do it now. I just need like a plastic tote.
Yeah, I know.
So I can open the window and put that there, and it'll just put like a little fan. That's all I need.
So you don't kill yourself with plastic fumes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, that reminds me. I can print with like nylon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I can also print with like metal infused filaments.
Mm-hmm.
You're confused now.
No,
I understand.
I'm not confused. I know how it works.
Bet.
No. What? Did you say bet? I work with metal for a living. I know how these things work.
I know. I just like that.
There's a bullet that we used to sell at Big Shots called Inceptors, and they're a polymer projectile infused with copper.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, do you want to move like quickly into D&D? Because I have some questions for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll answer whatever you give me, bro.
All right. So, first, I would like for you to answer this. What is your favorite moment that Damocles has had in his whole like lifetime? And then what is your favorite moment that Whisper has had?
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I would like to add for you to explain for those who don't know who Damocles or Whisper are, so each character respectively before you like talk about your favorite moments.
Describe it to us.
Oh, you want me to do? Okay.
Yeah.
So Damocles is in the campaign that Khalid is DMing. He is the Tiefling Barbarian, so level 1 Bard, level 6 Barbarian. Generally good-humored, just obviously melee-focused, being a barbarian, trying to innovate with blacksmithing skills, and somehow good at puzzle solving, even with a very low intelligence score. Somehow I managed to either stumble onto the right answers or just be like, guys, it's this. Because sometimes the simple answer is the correct one. But yeah, basically Hellboy with a better attitude.
That's fair.
And cooler horns.
Also fair.
And a big hammer. And then Whisper is a Kenku necromancer wizard in the campaign that Jacob DMs, who has made a deal with a devil. And Kenku, just recap for anybody that doesn't know, are crow people or raven people, one of the two.
Yes.
And they have been cursed by the gods to not have the ability to fly and only be able to repeat what they have heard. They are incapable of original speech, but they have perfect memories and perfect recitation abilities. I made a deal with a devil, as Whisper, for both the ability of flight and the ability to speak, and came out with a Scottish accent. So he is a small, angry Scottish bird man that constantly threatens to fireball anybody and everybody that stands in the way.
It's funny because you said it, you started talking Scottish, and we were just like, that's canon now.
It was so funny because the session where I got my voice, he kind of had like a dark and mysterious voice, you know. And then immediately the next session, I think I was drunk the next time we played, And I was like, I'm tired of the lot of you. I'm not having any more of your nonsense. And then it was just canon from that point on. He was just Scottish. So then we would discriminate when Whisper had dialogue and when I was actually talking by whether or not I was doing the Scottish accent.
So it got to the point to where you would say something and I just wouldn't acknowledge it unless you said it in the Scottish accent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
I say that in game, and Jacob was like, "But you didn't say it with the accent."
And then you started talking almost all the time in the Scottish accent at one point.
And so
and
just
you made a joke.
Head was canon.
You made a joke that someone took seriously. Like it was in game because you said it in the Scottish accent.
Yep.
That was. I don't remember the exact scenario, but I remember your reaction like, "Oh no, I didn't say that." And I'm like, "It was
like, yeah, you did." And I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." Okay, so recap. That's the update on my characters. So favorite moment for Damocles and favorite moment for Whisper. Damocles is a tough one because we've been playing that game 2 years now?
Yeah, longer than that.
Probably longer than that. I will say there's many very good moments with Damocles, but probably top of the list has got to be when we were running from the snake people and the cultists with that merchant we kept calling by the wrong name, and I pole vaulted myself with Macabre and took out a building, and there's just that whole chase scene was super cool, and I pulled off all the crazy theatrical stunts that I wanted to do because I managed to actually roll good for one game.
Yeah, those dice were in your favor that game.
Yeah, they were, and then they never were again after that.
I mean, to be fair though, it is kind of weird because now that we have the new table set up and you're sitting there, was that's the adult blessed area, and you're just rolling good rolls that whole night. Pretty decent rolls.
They have been better. Yes, they have been steadily getting better.
They would be really good if you could roll in the dice tray.
Look, I'm sorry that the dice tray is made of antimatter, and it just repels every time I throw the dice in it.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you've heard it, but I've talked about it before. It's out of my whole 25 plus years of playing D&D, I've never seen a D4 bounce out of a tray ever.
That was wild.
It's come on.
I defy gravity.
And then for what about Whisper?
For Whisper, right. Okay. Favorite moment for Whisper.
Wispy boy.
Yeah, Wispy boy. I'm thinking. Okay, so I have a real favorite moment and a joke favorite moment.
Oh dear.
The joke favorite moment is that time me and Josh's character killed little Timmy on the beach and buried his body in the sand.
No.
Wait, you have to. You got to explain the whole thing.
I don't even exactly.
Okay.
What did Josh do to him that I ended up having to do that? I remember what I did.
So I'll set the scene because I remember it very vividly.
Of course you do.
Okay, so Josh, y'all were on the beach and y'all were doing a quest for the god Thassa. Y'all were getting the quest from a prophet, basically, an oracle. And Josh walks down the beach to get away from you all so he can roll his orb. Now, for everyone that doesn't know, his orb is a D100 and each number is a different effect. So it has 100 different effects. And if it rolls cocked, meaning it doesn't roll on a number, it rolls on an edge, that has an effect as well. So it's 101. So he walks down the beach, and he rolls kill the closest person next to you. Basically, within, it had a range, I think. It was within 30 feet. and he was away from you guys. So I was like, these kids that were hiding in the cave nearby come out and startle you right as you use it. And one of them just falls dead. And then I believe he rolled it again and it brought you.
Again, and it teleported me over there.
Yes, and so there was another kid there.
Okay, so yeah, from this point, it's like I show up and Josh's character is freaking out because this kid has just dropped dead. The other kid is freaking out because his friend is dead. And I just go, all right, don't worry, I've got this. And I just shiv the other kid in the stomach or the neck
And
or
then
something, stab him, and then put both bodies, like dig a hole, burn them,
and that
bury them.
lured everyone.
Right. So then we quickly bury it and build a fire on top of it. And we're just like, oh, hey, guys, we're just setting up a campfire. And Matt started like cooking food over the campfire. And nobody knew that they were roasting hot dogs over the corpses of 2 small children.
Jeez.
So that's my favorite joke moment. As dark and horrible as that is.
Yes.
My proudest moment, actually, as Whisper, is probably when I made the deal to get. Okay. When I made the deal to get flight and speech, because the lore of Kinkus is basically most of them that turn to magic do so to gain the ability of flight. Because being flightless birds sucks, unless I guess you're a penguin. And so yeah, that's probably my proudest actual moment, was doing that.
And I told Jacob before, it's like because he's asked me that question of like what are my favorite D&D moments, like running the campaign kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't answer that one because there's so many different things that happen in the game that I'm like, I love this moment, or even when I'm listening to the audio, I will like fast forward to hear these interactions.
Oh wow.
So like one of the ones that to this day, like I still will like say randomly that it doesn't fit in any context, but I just love it. It's like when all of you are fussing around this well, trying to figure out who should go in or to investigate the well. And it's during like the whole like dragon sickness situation.
Uh-huh.
And so everyone's kind of fussing outside, and I ask, hey, what are you where are you all outside? And that you can hear you on the audio go, oh, something's about to happen. And so the minute I go, okay, you hear someone over the wall, and so you're doing the mannerism, but as if you're grabbing Nazir's face and turning him towards the noise, going lightning breath. And it's like like that visually is a phenomenal situation where it's just like, oh god, him as a weapon.
Yeah, that's so great. I had forgotten that I did that. It's so something Hippolytes would actually do as well. Like that's very much in character for him.
Yeah,
this big, tough, burly looking, scary looking guy, and then at any kind of startling danger, it's like, oh god, Nazir, fix it.
Or I will fix it with someone else.
Right. It's like, you know what solves everything? Blasts of lightning.
And that's also funny that, go ahead.
That's also Nazir's strategy for most things is, you know what would fix this problem? A blast of lightning.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to, no, lightning breath, no.
How many times have we had that exact exchange? It's like, I'm going to lightning breath. Jacob, why?
Or he'll go lightning breath as an inflection of question.
No.
But I will say though, it's because of I'm starting to do like lore inspiration, and I think it like the seeds were sown. I would say with maybe with with Nazir about the spectator, but I feel like it was more in impact of it actually like, okay, should be a thing when it came to like Damocles. So the whole time you're investigating, you out of character kind of like, no, I don't get it. and you even hear the players going, "Oh no, that's not it." But as a DM, I can't go, "Oh, you got it." You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's stuff like you're knocking out because you're deductive, using deductive reasoning. Like, oh, this is probably what happened in this and this and this. And so like I have to like kind of smile to myself, and I'm like, okay, well, that is it. Even though you're like, nope, I don't get it. I'm tired of all this Sherlock Holmes BS. I'm gonna go hit somebody. And so,
and you as the DM is like, oh, come on, you had it.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's the opposite where people are like, oh, so like a lot of DMs go, the best way to like make a puzzle for Dungeons and Dragons is that you go to the Dollar Tree or dollar store, you find a children's riddle book, and then you give it to your players after you repurpose it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no. I was like, oh no, my players are clever, and I do like the fact that I think more of the believe in thyself is what's necessary versus like we can't get this, but I think the turning point was when you're like putting all the puzzle pieces together for the golem.
Which golem?
Oh, you guys fought a few golems, huh?
Yeah, there's been several. Do you mean the flesh and metal golem?
The flesh and iron golem.
Oh God, that was such a heartbreaking series of things to figure out. Like honestly, of your NPCs that weren't like main story characters, that one is probably my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Just the sadness behind her backstory. It really like it literally broke my heart as if I was watching a sad movie.
That's awesome. Well, that means a lot as a DM, so awesome.
I'm glad. I'm glad that makes you happy.
I will say that and Will's joking where I was just like, it's not a good D&D session unless I make Noah cry, but
right.
But I mean, in the same time though, it's the reactions of all the people, because I mean, there's been some really good like reaction moments. I have been telling people about the whole like was it the little orphan on your shoulders?
Yes.
And the guy's like, oh, those little miscreants. And then after she walks by, I was like, what's a miscreant?
And Damocles is just filled with unyielding rage.
And like that. And I was like, slightly applaud myself because like, I feel like if I would have pushed one more inch, it would have been like murder hobo city kind of thing. Like he was just...
You're absolutely correct. Literally, if he said miscreant, if the guy had actually turned and like said something derogatory at me and her, it would have been Damocles gently setting Melanie on the ground, be like, close your eyes for a moment, sweetie. And then me turning that man's head into just meat pudding.
Yes,
I would kill the whole city guard.
just for these orphans.
Yes, just for these children.
Which is, I think, a pleasant and a dark way of a twist, where it's just like, oh, we accidentally burned down an orphanage to help the city guard, kind of thing, and it's the opposite, where it's like, oh no, we'll burn down the city guard to help an orphanage.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's phenomenal. So, what got you into D&D? Like, how did you discover D&D?
Well, my dad was the one that really encouraged like my love of fantasy and science fiction and all that, and he used to talk about the old Shadowrun tabletop games, and I'd heard here and there about Dungeons and Dragons, and then I don't know, probably sometime working at Hot Topic and then talking to Cody about you and you wanting to start a game and he being like, hey, would you be interested? Something like that. So really you were the one that kicked me into it, being obviously my first session, still running to this day. I mean, yeah, it's the first game I've ever played in. It was my first experience with tabletop gaming in general. And
no, there was like because I know like you did have like, was it 4th edition books? Now what was that? Like, were you?
So that was, I I got those at a half-price bookstore in Pittsburgh. And I was like, oh, these books are super cheap. You know, I've been trying to look into D&D. It might have actually been after one of you brought it up. I was like, hey, we're thinking about starting this game. And then I just was like super stoked about the idea and wanted to try and prepare myself, and then ended up getting the wrong edition books.
Oh.
Or it's just I saw Dungeons and Dragons books for cheap and was like, yeah, nerd stuff, and bought them.
Yeah, either way. That's awesome. So, because with like, were there books that you would say? Because like when I was growing up, there's certain things that influence. I think that if I wasn't exposed to, then I wouldn't love D&D. Like I'll say like Willow and some like Thundercats, He-Man, things like that. And I'm glad I'd never seen the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, because I think that would have influenced it in a weird direction. Yeah. I don't know.
They fought Tiamat in the first episode.
Yeah, like Tiamat's just constantly running around, just hanging out, trying to kill Venger, which is funny, but it's always so really, really weird. Now, are there any books that stand out when it comes to like, oh my gosh, like fantasy, this, well, not even books, any multimedia or media in general, like this is what stands out that makes you go, oh my gosh, this is my introduction into fantasy or so forth?
There was, so again, my dad gave me a lot of fantasy novels when I was younger. There was this one, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called, but it was about a dragon, and it was like this little boy. I want to say it was like a weird. Oh, hey, buddy. I want to say it was a weird twist on like the King Midas story,